one of my former colleagues told me that the essence of being a man is to be unavailable.
Yeah.
When he grew up, and I think most of us, except me, because to people.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Mysterious.
Many people, exactly, mystery and mystique. Many people grew up with dads who folded the paper, and when you come home, everybody scatters. And there's a mystique around you that's actually, it's almost alluring. It's almost a good thing that I don't get my dad's thoughts. I don't understand where he comes from. And because you've taken this path, what is masculinity to you?
I think being masculine to me is deciding. When I decide, there are things that follow based on my decision. So when I decide that I am going to invest in Alvaro, there are things that will follow.
No product placement.
Quick plug here. You can pay for it.
Yeah. Let me just turn like this.
No, when I say my decision is to drink Alvaro, there are things that will.
I think also what you're trying to say, not so many words, is the fact that decision making is a capacity that every man should have. It's one of the least traveled routes. You will think very men are decisive, but they're not. They'll pussyfoot around decisions without just putting the. We have to take responsibility for actions.
So for you, masculinity is
taking responsibility, making decisions, providing guidance and leadership. You know, I mean,
my heart is so warm.
In fact, let me add
my story is a bit different. In terms of, I think, how I define masculinity before and how I define it now is different, but based on experience. So before, be a man was, you'd be the strong person, you'd be at the forefront, you'd provide, you'd give leadership and all. I think my definition has changed slightly because I've seen with life's challenges how men either capitulate or react when they're hit by things they did not expect. Being out of a job, being, whether to remain faithful to my wife or not, being a present father and all sorts of things. My definition of manhood has added something, or rather maybe changed a little bit, where now I'm like, I think true manhood is doing the hard stuff. True masculinity is doing the hard stuff because there's stuff that's accepted as masculine. I can impregnate a girl and walk away and I'm macho and I'll get away with it, she'll have to deal with it for the rest of her life. I think true manhood in that scenario is as a man, I take responsibility, whether I have the means or not, and make it work. That's the harder part, and it's a path most men are not willing. We've seen it from the lowest levels to national leadership positions where men don't want to take responsibility and do things to try and get away from it. It's that, if my kids need to go to school, I'll make every decision possible to do stuff to make that happen, whether I have the means, ability or not. So my definition of masculinity nowadays is doing the harder thing. Being faithful to your wife is the harder thing nowadays. It's easier to cheat because society accepts it as normal, and so I find that somebody who's willing to do that and invest in that kind of process is investing in a process of manhood. And not to say that I'm perfect or any of us here is perfect, but I find that taking the road less traveled is a higher definition of manhood than maybe what we grew up learning of being tough, macho and all that.
I don't know if it's the wine or this conversation, but I'm feeling so much. Amani, what's the definition of masculinity to you? Then we go to Nella.
I think wisdom has spoken. However, I didn't hear anything.
There's more. It's better wisdom speaks now.
So I'm wondering where there's manhood and there's no blood. Something needs to be blood. Yes. But I think first let me affirm what has been said here about responsibility, about taking the harder decisions. I think that's really it. The one word I'd add to this masculinity conversation is risk. Is being willing to take risks. I feel like more often than not, anytime a man is shielded from taking risk, and that's from boyhood. Don't climb that window. Don't take risk. You actually emasculate that person, because being able to take initiative, being able to take responsibility, those things come from a place of being willing to take the risk
And chart a new path.
Yeah. And so for me, I'd say, at the core of masculinity is that one. It might not be the only word, but that's one of them. Is risk.
Okay.
Being able to take the risk.
Mela? They're deep.
Take a sip, bro.
No plug. But actually, for me, what I've come to realize is society puts us in very defined boxes, and we can go into various many things that society has placed. Or a guy can do this, a guy can't do this, and I think sometimes coming to the realization from your inside to your conscience that okay, this is not right, or I think we can do things differently. And I think it's always been a man's thing to say we can do things differently. We started with fire, now we have cookers. Again, like there has to be the people who say we can do things differently, horses to cars. So for me personally, I always view it, and my own life and my own journey right now is okay, can we do that differently? And that comes for me at several, it's a cost. Maybe now I'm not where I could have been, but I then have to take again responsibility and say I'm going down this path. It's going to be hard, but I'd rather go down this path than not go down this path and live as society saying you just live, do this, do a 9 to 5, without necessarily saying is there a part for me to play in this field?
Yes. But I think safety, and there's a difference between safety and security. I think safety is the enemy of masculinity.
But do you think you say that, Amani, because I know you have a much larger risk appetite than many people?
But I think I'm thinking about Okwi, and I'm thinking about his decision to...
It's not safe.
It's not a safe decision.
It's
a risky decision.
You can only say it where...
He said it to the world now.
And
it's on YouTube, baby.
and that's not about... And that's what Mela is saying. It's about charting a new path. It's creating something. How do we do this differently? Someone who's trying to be safe is someone who will maintain status quo. Someone who will do a lot to just keep things.
That's a definition.
And maybe one of the things ladies should understand is not all men can do, can take risk, and I think that's what you're alluding to. Not all men can take risks. Some men can be safe, some men can be conservative. But I think they should be conservative. This is what I am, and then you know what you are, and say, I'm conservative. So I should play within the conservative space.
But Mela, hold on. I don't mean to take away from what you're saying, but Mela, by the time you're asking a Chile, will you be my chick? What's that?
No.
It's risk for a man.
It's risk.
The guy may have dated her for 8 years. He knows the answer is yes.
But she's waiting. You have a question to ask me?
Okay, no, but I don't want to go away from the definition of masculinity for each of us.
I think a lot of good things have been said.
Yeah.
It's now time for the truth. I'm kidding. But I agree with everything that mostly has been said. I think some things that add, I don't think it's a dictionary definition, but some things that add are conviction. I think living your life with a sense of conviction.
What does that mean?
I think conviction is saying this is what and maybe I'll throw in another word there, values. These are the things that I believe in. These are the things that I stand for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that when you talk about in this definition, you're saying I'm married to this chick. So I have certain values where relationships or marriage are concerned, and what that means for me is it doesn't matter how alluring this person is. I have conviction about my values. So this is the thing that I stand for. So I think it's knowing
That's my husband. That's my husband.
knowing the things that you stand for.
Yeah.
I think, and living by them, I think is a big part of successful masculinity.
I think what you said is very, very, very important, Kush, because it's one thing to know, it's one thing to live them. There are very men who are in a space they know this is what.
Like, you know,
we're not
it's here.
living.
But then you're not really, exhibiting
In
it.
fact, the living is hard.
Yeah.
The living is hard.
That's where the man is.
it's one of the longest distances in the world is between here,
Here and here.
the head and the heart.
Yeah.
Because you know stuff here, but it's, I think, the living out
living
and saying,
it out.
I believe in this thing,
Yes.
but
Enough.
enough to stand
Yes,
by it,
that's
even
where
though there
the
are
man is
consequences that are negative.